You are living a life that is not yours. You feel it, even if you try to suppress it, even if you pretend everything is fine. You wake up every day, follow your routine, do what is expected, deliver what others ask for, but deep down, there is a feeling that doesn't leave you. A kind of emptiness that no achievement can fill. An uncomfortable sensation that you are out of place, as if you are playing a role in a play written by someone who never truly knew you. You may have even followed the right path, studied, worked hard, sought stability, did what your family taught you, what society applauds. But none of that seems enough. Why? Because this story did not originate from you. It was imposed, disguised as responsibility, prudence, normality. But the truth is that you have been living as an edited version of yourself. And the worst part? You have gotten used to it. You learned to smile in photos, to repeat the right phrases, to maintain the facade. But inside you, the chaos continues to accumulate. Carl Jung called this betrayal of the self. When you silence your true impulses, when you ignore your dreams, when you reject your deepest intuitions, you are betraying the most authentic part of who you are. And this betrayal has a price. Unexplained anxiety, a feeling of stagnation, a constant discomfort with your own existence. It's the unconscious trying to scream while you insist on keeping everything under control. Jung said that the soul sends signals, dreams, persistent desires, wills that insist on returning, and ignoring these signals is like turning off a fire alarm and pretending everything is under control while everything around you is on fire. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. The only rule that Jung considered essential for anyone who wants to become whole. Stop trying to live a story that is not yours. This phrase is not a self-help advice. It's a bombshell. Because it forces you to face an uncomfortable truth. A good part of your life may be based on external expectations. And the more you try to fit in, the more you fragment inside. Paulo Coelho, one of the most influential writers of our time, understood this when he wrote The Alchemist. What seems to be just a simple fable is, in fact, a psychological treatise disguised as a novel. Santiago, the young shepherd, is the exact portrait of who you are now. He also started following a path that made sense to others, a safe, predictable life without great risks, until the dreams began to disturb him, repetitive, insistent, as if the unconscious was pushing him towards something he still couldn't comprehend. And you, honestly, are also having these dreams, perhaps not while you sleep, but while you live. They manifest as existential fatigue, as that desire to drop everything, as that question that echoes in silence. What if my life could be different? This video is for you who feel you are playing the wrong role, who is tired of pretending. Who knows, deep down, that there is a truer life waiting for you, but doesn't know how to find it. Here, we will decode the deep psychology behind the work The Alchemist, show how each character is a living archetype of the individuation journey described by Jung, and guide you in this process that is not easy, but is necessary. The journey back home. Not the home where you live, but the home that exists within you. The only place where you can finally be who you truly are. From now on, the question remains, will you continue playing the role that was given to you? Or will you have the courage to write your own story? Carl Gustav Jung did not believe in ready-made formulas. He knew that the human psyche was too complex to fit into labels or recipes. But among all his teachings, there was one truth he repeated with an almost relentless clarity. The greatest burden a child can carry is the unlived life of the parents. And this phrase echoes like a silent earthquake within anyone who has grown up trying to please, adapt, belong. Jung's only rule, and perhaps the greatest challenge of a lifetime, is this: stop trying to live a story that is not yours. But what does that mean in practice? It means that every time you act to meet an external expectation, you drift a little further away from yourself. It means that every decision made out of fear of displeasing, of being rejected, or of seeming irrational, fragments you inside. It means that when you force your soul to follow a script that did not arise from your unconscious, you go to war with yourself, and this war, sooner or later, will demand its toll. Jung discovered, by diving into the studies of alchemy and dreams, that every human being carries within them a unique script of individuation, a symbolic path that leads from the persona, the social mask, to the self, the total essence of being. But this path is not comfortable. It requires ruptures. It demands losing everything that is false to begin building something true. And the first step of this process is daring to listen to what is within. What bothers you, what you try to ignore, what attracts you even if it seems unreasonable. All of this is clues. They are internal maps. They are signs of your own story wanting to emerge. Most people live like emotional puppets. They react, repeat, obey, without ever asking themselves, is this really what I want? And the most tragic thing is that often we confuse security with truth. We accept an empty career because it pays well. We maintain relationships out of fear of being alone. We endure suffocating routines in the name of a stability that, deep down, is just fear disguised as maturity. But Jung warned us, the worst prison is the one built with bricks of comfort. And that is why the rule is so simple and so devastating. Stop living a story that is not yours. This does not mean you should abandon everything all at once, but rather that you should start paying attention. For real. Start questioning the roles you are playing. Observe the moments when you stay silent, when you wanted to scream, the places where you feel out of place, even while smiling. The decisions you made that, deep down, were never yours. This rule is not about external revolution. It is about internal revolution. It is about reclaiming your original narrative, the one that exists before the scars, before the traumas, before the conditioning. Because if you do not do this, you will be just a character in the theater of someone else's life. And the worst part, no one will notice. Everyone will applaud. They will say you did everything right, but only you will know that you are dying inside. Jung knew that this call does not come as a loud voice. It comes as discomfort, as dissatisfaction, as that feeling that something is missing, even when, theoretically, you have everything. And it is precisely there that the true inner work begins. Now, imagine if there were a mirror that showed exactly this. How much of your life is real, and how much is theater? And what if that mirror were a book? And what if that book were the work The Alchemist? In the next part, we will dive into this work that seems simple at first glance, but which, under the lens of deep psychology, reveals itself as a true laboratory of inner transformation. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. The Alchemist is not just a story about a shepherd who dreams of a treasure. It is a living metaphor about the deepest process a human being can experience, the journey back to oneself. Paulo Coelho, consciously or unconsciously, wrote a Jungian treatise disguised as a spiritual novel. And that is exactly why the book has touched millions of people around the world. Not because it teaches, but because it reveals. Because it acts as a symbolic mirror where each reader, in a unique way, sees their own soul reflected. Santiago is the personification of the modern individual. He has an apparently peaceful life with stability, routine, and a defined path. He is a shepherd, knows his sheep, understands the rhythm of the seasons, and the geography of the fields. But despite all this, something disturbs him. A recurring dream, a vision that insists on returning. And Jung taught us that recurring dreams are not mere nightly repetitions. They are messages from the unconscious trying to break through the confines of the rational mind. It is the self, the totality of the psyche, calling the ego to the journey of transformation. The treasure Santiago seeks is not really beneath the sands of Egypt. It is within him. But for him to realize this, it is necessary to cross real and symbolic deserts. And here lies the power of the book. Each step of Santiago's journey is an archetypal representation of our own internal stages. When he leaves everything behind, he is not just abandoning the flock, he is renouncing the persona, the social mask, the inherited identity. When he follows the signs, even without fully understanding, he is accepting the movement of the unconscious. He is surrendering to the journey of individuation. The book becomes a psychological mirror because it does not offer ready-made answers. It presents symbols. It presents characters that function as psychic aspects. And most impressively, each reader will identify with a different part of the story. Some will see themselves at the beginning, full of doubts and attachments. Others will recognize themselves in the moment of blind faith, when everything seems to be crumbling. And there are those who, in the end, clearly realize that the treasure they were seeking has always been exactly where they started, but that, without the journey, they would never have eyes to see it. Jung said that what irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. In The Alchemist, what touches us deeply is precisely this. The parts of the book that most move us are those that expose our own wounds, our blockages, our buried desires. The book is like a magnifying lens of the soul. It does not tell you what to do. It shows you who you are. And this narrative structure is not random. It follows exactly the stages of alchemy described by Jung in Psychology and Alchemy, the symbolic process of the transformation of the soul. Santiago goes through Negredo, the initial darkness of doubt, loss, and disorientation, then through Albedo, when he begins to see more clearly what really matters, and finally through Rubedo, the integration of the inner gold, the encounter with the treasure, which is in fact the discovery of oneself. But to understand this process in its entirety, we need to analyze more deeply the characters that Santiago meets along the way. Because each of them represents a psychological choice, a possibility of destiny, an archetypal mirror that reveals what happens when someone listens to or ignores the call of the self. In the next part, we will dive into these characters. We will understand what exactly they represent,